Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Griggs coming to you on the 14th of December 2020. A lot of you have been asking me questions about certain reports, and so I think it's important to bring you my assessment on them. And this is going to be, everybody's accusing me of being a fearmonger. This is because I'm going to shoot down pretty much some of the things that are floating around because there's some reports about things going boom underground that don't make sense in any way that sound. Okay, bear with me. Well, that's just kind of my rhymic ways. It's hard for me to get out of that. All right. I did a report last night talking about Chinese troops in training in Canada. This isn't directly related to that, but is an offshoot of that because there are claims that there was an underground base with 50,000 Chinese in Maine that was exploded. And then a lot of people think that this may have happened. And I'm going to show you why I'm highly, extremely skeptical that there was a base with 50,000 Chinese soldiers in the United States that got it destroyed. Well, there might have been a bunker, maybe, but 50,000, me no think. I'm going to show you all of that. So that's the good news. That we got to be skeptical in this life a little bit. We've got to have our skepticism on. We got to challenge everything we hear, and we need to do it with discernment and a little bit of research and investigation. There's so many YouTube channels out there just blasting stuff out constantly that don't look into it. I do look into the things I put out. Now, sometimes I have a little fun with things, okay, but look, I've got on this whole idea that Nibiru was going to come through and wipe us out last September. That didn't happen, did it? Well, I was out there in August, and that Nibiru comes not this way. And also I have chastised those who said there was 8 years difference between the Gregorian and Julian calendars. No, it's 14 days. And I showed you that. If you want me to go back, I can show you how the calendars are counted, actually. Now, the Enochian calendar is closer to 8 years. If you're going by the Enochian calendar, that's not what they were talking about. That's not to say things couldn't happen on or after the 21st of December. I went back into that and I explained my concerns about the power grid. I am concerned about the power grid. And a lot of people think I'm fear-monger. Now, what I'm really trying to do is get this power grid hardened so we can keep our lights up. So we can continue our civilization, but I got to wake people up to the dangers, the causes to get this ball rolling. We've got to get together and push the system to make this happen, because if we don't, and if nothing else happens, if no people do anything ill-gotten or of ill intention from now till whenever, eventually the sun's going to get us. We've got to get our power grid fixed, okay? That's why I put this stuff out. There's things that we've got to do, that we've got to fix, and we're not doing it. And because of that, and because there are so much tension in the world today, which some people won't ignore, there are a lot of tension in the world domestically and externally, internationally. Because of that tension, you better be prepared. You better get ready. I always say, though, don't be scared, be prepared. And if you want to be prepared, I got a great deal. Right now, $100 off 2 of these. Yeah, go to prepwithgreg.com. Prepwithgreg.com. This has 2 weeks supply. You get 2 of these. They're lightweight, and you can put these in your boat, your car. You can bug out with them. You can store them real good because this is good and solid, and it will last for years. And once you consume the internal parts, the bucket is quite useful, especially on your canoe for keeping your clothes dry, or use a honey bucket, storage, whatever. It's a very useful bucket. And you can take the packets out and you can go with them, bugging out. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2,000 calories a day, and you'll be a winner. $100 off. I got mine. Get yours. Now, let's go on with what's going on. I'm going to do some sharing here, and I'm going to show y'all some stuff. Now, my computer is about maxed out with what I can put in it. So this is the big city of Sheboygan. And this happens to be a city of less than 50,000 people. Before we go there, these reports have come out from a channel I actually like. But it looks like I'm sitting here kind of bashing him again, unfortunately. Stephen Benoon, he's a good guy, as far as I can tell. He gets some good intel, but I think he's got a bad intel source or two on this thing with Nibiru, and also on on his report of, he talked about an attack that on an underground base in America, an underground bunker in Maine, that took out 50,000 Chinese. He mentioned that in this specific video, and he's also talking about some kind of a push offshore of the United States. So let me go in here and look at this. My system's slow because my computer power is overtaken here. So here is the state of Maine. We're going to look at that in a minute, but let's look at the earthquake. Oh, come on. Let's get an update. Oh no, don't take me back from the beginning. Here we are. Hopefully, yeah, there we are. Good. This is the spot of the earthquake in Maine, right here, right on the coast. You see it right where this little inlet bay area is, right here, right off the Bay of Fundy. As you know, we got Nova Scotia down here, and New Brunswick up here. So let's go back and look at Maine. What's there? Let's zoom in. Boing. Come on. Computer's slow. I got my resources tapped out a bit too much. We're talking right in this area, right here. Right here is where that earthquake took place. Well, what do we got here? We've actually got a national wildlife refuge. Greg, that's a perfect place to hide a big military base, right? Look at the satellite image of it. Well, won't slow today. Well, of course, we don't see anything here. You go, oh, Greg, it's underground. You're not going to see anything. Well, actually, I bet the sea level's not very high here. I bet if you're underground by much at all. Look, there's a picture going in. Pretty place. Moose horn. Well, there's probably some moose in the area. As you know, Maine is a very, it's one of your more underpopulated remote states from the eastern seaboard standpoint. It's got a lot of analogies to Alaska. It's got moose. It's cold. People trap there. It's remote. And only the hardy want to live there. So it's got a lot of similarities to Alaska, where I lived once upon a time. So we're talking right here. So my challenge is, how would you hide 50,000 people, even underground right there? Well, they're underground, Greg, they'll hide because you can't see them. Well, 50,000 people is a whole lot of people. That's a city, a good sized city. It's a little bit bigger than Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And we're going to look at Sheboygan in a minute. But look, you got a lot of people. You got to feed them. And it's obvious they don't have any big fields right there feeding them. So you'd have to bring all their supplies in and out. So you've got a lot of logistics that have to run in and out of here. So to build the base, to equip the base, and then to feed the base and maintain power to it. You need a power plant somewhere, even if it's underground. You've got to have a big power plant. You got to have a lot of food and water and just other things being trucked in and out. This is not trivial, trucked or shipped. Now it is on the coast. So you might say, well, great, we'll just ship them. Well, the question is, where are the docks? You got to have some docks to support something like that. And this is kind of a wilderness area. So if you go back in here and look, what you're going to find is there's not much in the way of docks, shipping docks in this area. In fact, there are none to speak of. Certainly nothing that's going to supply 50,000 people. We got Oak Haven up here, but it's not a shipping center. They may have some little fishing things going on, but yeah, this is no major base for things like that. Looks like I might have a little dock right there area. So if you want to find, yes, I'm not seeing much in the way here of docks. You go in, and what I'm seeing is farms. Some farms, not a whole lot, just little bitty farms. Mostly it looks like pasture or something from that standpoint. So if you come back out, so we're back over in this area. So if you come back out and go along the coastline looking for docks, Black Harbor, well, that sounds like a good place for some docks. There's a little bit, just a little bit right in here. But not a whole lot. But you would need a whole lot of stuff slipping in and out. Actually, the best docks would be at probably back up here at St. John, right here. But still, it's kind of limited. These aren't really military scale docks. Now, that's a good dock area right there. Good ports. St. John's got the best in the area, I would say. Although you probably wouldn't want to be sending all this stuff in and out of St. John, because St. John's a regular city. And you wouldn't want all that traffic going, from Chinese military coming in and out of St. John, maybe Black's Harbor. But then you still got to get it over here. You got to hide it, conceal it. And you'd have to have a lot of traffic. Think about the amount of traffic that goes in and out of a regular U.S. city every day just to supply the city. Lots of trucks move in and out of the city. Lots of trucks, food, water, and everything else that people need. 50,000 people require a lot of logistics to support. And if they're underground base, they're probably going to require more. Oh, great. Well, they got all these tunnels underground. Well, they might. They might. But that's got to come from somewhere and go to somewhere. And you got geological activity underground. So there's a limit to how far you can make those things in a massive sort of a way. And I say might. I have seen pictures of some of that, though. So I know they exist in certain areas. How well are they interconnected? And how would you put something all the way up here without any external support? See, these are good questions. And by the way, what would be your objective from Maine anyway? What would you be attacking? Boston? Maybe you come around up here through this highway system and come down into New York, maybe? So come in, get them from the rear flank. Well, that's possible. Come down to 87 here. But my friends, let me show you something. Let's talk about Sheboygan. All right. Sheboygan, as you can see here, ding, 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 ding. Sheboygan has a population in the city of 49,000 in 2010. Looks like they lost people. The 2019 estimate is 47,000. So what we're talking about is something bigger than Sheboygan. Now, Sheboygan, as you look at it on the map, some of you have been to Sheboygan. You know what I'm talking about. Sheboygan is not an inconsequential. It's not a ginormous city, but it's a city. It's a real city. It's an ongoing concern. And it's not tiny. By a city scale, it might be, but look, it's still almost 16 square miles. 16 square miles of land. Okay, so you pack it in a little closer, up and down vertically because you're under the ground. Still, you're going to talk a ginormous facility. Where are you going to put all the stuff that you mine out of that, the hollow out area like that? And you got to pump all the water out because you're going to be mostly under sea level because that water, you're pretty much at sea level in the location I showed you. So you got to have something that's waterproof, watertight, underground, and it's going to have to be huge for 50,000 people. And you got to have a lot of logistics going to and from it. And if you blow it up, you're going to have a huge cavity. Not even an explosion, but from the implosion of what was there. And it's going to be hard to hide. It'll be hard to hide all the logistics going in. How do you hide Sheboygan, Wisconsin, my friends? How do you hide Sheboygan, Wisconsin? Especially when everybody coming in and out are from another country and are military in the United States. Just saying, guys, this is a little hard for me to swallow. A little hard to swallow that we got something that big in that place. Now, there was an earthquake there. Bam, there it was. About a magnitude 3. Okay. That would be a low-grade nuke, like, maybe something set off by North Korea. Something on that side, if that's what it were. But you would have a hole. And you'd get probably some radiation coming out of that. Some claimed it was bombs coming over. Well, how many bombs did it take? Would the facility be in one spot or spread out? we tend to spread stuff like that out, not build it all in one big cavity. If we were doing something like that, that's just the way we build things typically. Not saying it's the way you got to do it, but yeah. So I'm a little bit, just a little bit reluctant to buy the idea that you would build Sheboygan. See all these city blocks here? This is Sheboygan proper. Bookworm Gardens. Sounds like a place I need to go. I'm something of a bookworm. I raise worms. I write books. And I garden. Bookworm Gardens. Wow, I got to go Sheboygan. So what's the biggest thing less than Sheboygan? Bookworm Gardens, Walmart Supercenter. Okay, it does make it sound kind of small. Color Art Center. Okay. Bookworm Gardens. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? I like it. I'm going to show you a picture of the Walmart though, right? Nobody wants to see Walmart. So if we look at it from a map, you know, hey, this is a city. Guys, it's a city. You can go look up Sheboygan. Look at all these city blocks in here. I mean, they're everywhere. That was just the big blocks you were seeing from that high. Look at this is what it takes, at least on the surface of Earth, to hold 50,000 people in a city. Like I said, it's almost 16 square miles. So let's hide Sheboygan in Maine and supply it and keep all the supply runs hidden and secret, right? I mean, come on, guys. This is stretching my imagination just a little bit. Not to say there's not something to the story, but guys, I'm just having a little hard time swallowing this one. So, and I think that may be the good news. The good news is we need to kind of watch what we pay attention to. And we need to be a little bit skeptical. We need to ask questions. We need to do the research. I mean, you know, all these people, we had several, not one, not two, but several giant, big YouTube channels running out and telling us that there was 8 years difference between the Julian and the Gregorian calendars. No, they were wrong. All they had to do was just do a little bit of research and they would have known that. But they just bought it face value and they ran with it. I'm going to try to bring you a little better news than that. I've tried to at least research my stuff to make it a little better. I'm not saying that everything I say is perfect, but guys, I'm something of a rocket scientist, you know, and a worm farmer, especially. All right, so there we go. That's what you need to know, is that story's got some holes in it. It's got some little holes in it. Now, maybe the earthquake was just totally natural. And it may be nothing there but a swamp and some moose and campgrounds. And we know those kind of things are in that area. Ocean estuary, a bay. So why would that be the place of a deep underground base? I don't know. Seems like they could find a better place. Of course, it is on the edge of the United States and blah, 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 blah. But 50,000 people? No. You can't hide that kind of logistics. That, you know, you might have an invasion force moving in, and because they hadn't been there, they hadn't built stuff up, and it wasn't been resupplied. You might hide that for a little bit, just for a little bit, maybe. You know, I did a video on how the Chinese could sneak in using ISO shipping containers. That could happen, and you could have more Chinese soldiers put on the shores of the United States than 50,000 in a very, very immediate short order of time. And you would just think you had cargo coming in, and then all of a sudden, wham, stuff starts happening. I wouldn't expect anything like that to break out unless, though, there were an EMP attack first. So they do that under the cover of the EMP smoke screen, if you will. So we wouldn't know what was going down. All right, my friends, I just wanted to bring a little sanity to this because, you know, some people say we're already in a major war, and we may be. But if so, that wasn't a covert war, that we're in a hot war. It's been said we're in a hot war. We're already shooting at each other. And I'm going to say, no, at least this one ain't part of it. At least not to this scale. Not to this scale. You know, so if they were going to invade, this is not how they would do it. They would have troops coming in under the guise of working as contractors or provide sites for security facilities they own, like the agreements in Canada allow, and they do. Canadian treaties allow the Chinese military to protect Chinese assets in Canada. You know, that's usually the job of the country where you have your assets. The fact that they're letting them in like that is very questionable. That is something that I would be very concerned about. In Canada, something the United States ought to be concerned about. Not saying, you know, there are reports that there's tens of thousands, you know, on the West Coast. And I shot some of that down too in that video, and I talked about the girls that were training, and that troop was accused of being a Chinese army. In that case, it was not. I'm not saying there are not Chinese military in that area. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that specific case was not that. Just as I'm saying this is not likely to be 50,000 people in the deep underground base. Not likely. So just pay attention, keep on your skepticism hat. And one other thing to throw at you, and I should do a separate video on this. It's been said that we may have some stand downs coming. Some people think, and look, I'm just reporting this, not saying it's good, bad, or will happen. I'm just saying some people are reporting that we're going to have stand downs, and you might be prepared for it. And like I say, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just saying people are saying this, okay? This one is out there. But they're claiming that Trump is going to execute an executive order he set in 2018 vis-a-vis foreign interference in U.S. elections, and that it's basically going to lock the country down, and it could start on the 18th and go through the 24th. Hey, just saying, that's what is out there. Well, that would be something right. The 21st of September and December definitely be in the middle of that, right? Should that happen? And there are a couple of different things on that. This is another similar report about that, saying, hey, we should have 10-day supply of food and water and all that kind of stuff to carry us through that. Make sure your family has it. That's always a good thing to have, irrespective of whether this has any merit to it or not. And I have no idea whether there's any merit to this or not. But man, let's get out of this year. I have no idea if there's any merit to that. I'm thinking that's a long shot. I'm really skeptical about that one too. I'm really doubting it, to be frank. But you know, I'm not saying it won't happen again, because who knows what the cards are that's going to be played. I do know that there's going to be a lot of unhappy people in this country, no matter what happens going forward. And there's going to be civil strife resulting from that. You can expect that. How much just depends on what goes down. So you do need to be prepared. That's part of our internal strife. That's why I tell you to prep. I hope we can get through all this. Hope we can make it through it. In order to maintain our freedoms, I have started the Freedom Restoration Foundation. You can email us at hal5space@aol.com and put freedom in the subject line. You can join my survival tribes, put survival or tribe, actually put tribe in the subject line for that. We're working to try to preserve, actually to restore our freedoms. And we do have a Facebook site and a MeWe site. The links will be in the show notes. The links to things you can click on to support my channel will be in the show notes, be it True Leaf Market, prepwithgreg.com. And also subscribe to my channel, bring that notification bell, and click all. That way you'll get, hopefully, notifications of my videos when I post them. Because I do bring you a lot of different things. There's a proposition in my channel, help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And this is part of my eyes wide open and head on swivel news. But in this case, I'm doing what a lot of people say I don't do. There's a lot of people out there just, Greg, you're just a fear monger. Well, this is kind of anti-fear monger because I'm kind of damping down some of the stuff that's out there. There's plenty enough out there to worry about. So it behooves us in the truth community. It behooves us that are trying to bring you news, what's going on, to try to keep it credible and accurate. And that don't mean we're always going to be right, but you know, and the news, the mainstream news, we know are way off. So I'm trying to bring you things that are good, that are accurate, that you can take to the bank. So and occasionally when I get asked, you know, I've had several people asking me about this, and that's why I decided to do a story on it. I'll do some other video later this evening, tonight, but I just want to get this out there so that you can know that it ain't quite something to be scared about. at least yet. This is it, not yet. Yet, as the Russians would say. Yet. So, yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying that there were 50,000 people in a deep underground base that got attacked and wiped out here in the United States by us, of foreign forces. And they also claimed it was on Biden-owned land. Now, I don't know. Maybe Biden's got some land up there. I actually tried to research that. I didn't find a link on it. Now, if you are in the area, if you are in the area of Maine, if you're in that surrounding area, if you're in that area, if you're up in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, I mean, you know, in Nova Scotia, people should be seeing these ships going around there supplying all that stuff. You know, you should be seeing that kind of traffic if we're supplying. Look, it takes a lot of traffic to supply 50,000 people. Again, think about all the trucks and buses and vans going in and out of a city of 50,000. It's a lot of traffic. Think about what it would take to supply that number of people. One of the big things in the military is logistics. You got to supply that army. You got to feed it. You got to bring them water, fuel, clothing, medicines, everything else they need, power, and whatever they work on, whatever their mission is. You got to bring them all these essentials and resupply, spare parts. You just got to, and repair, maintenance. There's just tons of logistics in maintaining a force that size. It's not trivial at all, and it would be very hard to conceal, especially over any amount of time. Even if it was all in underground tunnels, people in other tunnels and adjacent tunnels would be going, what is that? So there we go. I don't know, guys. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it sure doesn't look too very probable to me. Okay, guys. So let's put this one to rest and keep our eyes on the ball. There's a lot of other stuff going on, and I'll try to keep you abreast of things that you need to know to keep your eyes wide open and head on swivel. But always do that. Keep a lookout. But like I said, if you're from that area, you're anywhere around that area, and you've seen traffic and things, if you've seen an attack, you know, it's claimed we have planes flying over, bombing. If you've seen an attack, you've heard an attack, you've seen this traffic, you've seen the base, if you can go there and take a photograph of the smoking hole in the ground, which would be probably water pouring in right now, all right, then you might convince me. But I will still be a bit skeptical, at least at first. All right, my friends, keep your eyes wide open, head on a swivel, and thank you for watching.